Now, I'd like to give you some examples on how the wound comes. Wow, it can come by absence when the father was not there, or it can come by violence, by abuse. You know, one story of my life, and I've had my relationship with my father was very. He was distant from me. He was physically present. He was a strong man. He was my idol almost. He was my standard. I wanted to be like him. But we never had that physical intimacy that Robert Bly talks about. And so I was afraid of him. Really, I was afraid. He never touched me. He never laid a finger on me. He never beat me. Or he was not a harsh, what you might call a harsh disciplinarian abuse. That is what it means. But the whole force of his presence was scary to me. So I withdrew into myself, and every time when he said things like, "You're my hero, you're gonna be my hero," I saw this, now I must be someone that he wants me to be. So I never revealed my true feelings in front of him. If he asked me, how was today at school, I would say, "That's okay, it was good." But I'll never say, "Listen, Dad, that's how I feel," because he would not be able to cope with that. He never had that food that passed between him and his dad. His dad was in the war, he never really came home. He came home only in the weekend. He was a hard-working guy. At that time, they all were. And so he never had that food, so he could not feed me. And this is why I became withdrawn. I had fear of life, of people. I had fear of other boys. I had fear of playing sports, so I'm not embarrassed. I had fear of swimming. I could not swim. I learned to swim just 2 years ago. This is another miracle. I didn't know that I had what it took to be a man. I always felt like a boy inside, even though I built up my body, to look like a man. This was all from brokenness, not from desire to be healthy. And so, yeah, there was especially one incident where I talked about it in the previous video, where I came home and these guys had given me a black eye, and my father saw that and he says, "No, son." Well, he didn't even say son, he just said, "You can go out and crush them. Tomorrow, after tomorrow, watch for that guy. You'll find him and beat him, and he should not mess with you." And so he was not tuned to my body, and I was not tuned to it. I just needed a hug that day. I just needed to know that no matter what happens, I'm strong. I'm strong. I'm not who I started to believe that I am. But he saw my eyes, he saw my whole body language, and he said the worst thing that any father could ever say to a boy that wants to grow up to be a man. He said, "Oh, forget it, son." He didn't even say son. He said, "Forget it. You're not made for this." That's what my father said. And this is when I just, something in me broke. I remember looking at the room, my socks, everything. I remember everything. This was like 17 years ago. And he said, "You're not made for this." All my life, I had been hoping that I'm made for this. I will be like my father. I will be able to speak my mind. I will be able to stand up to evil. People respected my dad because he is still an honest, hardworking man, and he was not afraid of other men. If a man said something that my father didn't agree with, he would challenge that. He would say, "Why'd you say that?" And I became just the opposite. Afraid of any sort of confrontation, wanting people to like me, so the weakness in me is not exposed. And when he said, "You're not born for that," my hope for life just was buried that day. And on the very next day, I started to lift weights. There's nothing wrong with lifting weights. I still do it in a different way, and not that much, not that often. But my motives were not good. I created a false self, and that false self lasted and got deepened for many years. And I was simply ambivalent in life. I was not wholehearted. The person that you saw was not the person I really was. So this is where many men are today.